Welcome to the meeting of the Commissioners Finance Committee. We'll get started here. Today is December 13th, 2023. Right now, 1:30 p.m. live. We'll begin with any opportunity for public comment for anyone wishing to address the Board of Commissioners. Yeah, nothing. Okay. All right, that'll move us to item 3. We have the minutes in hand for our meeting of December 6th. Require action.
Move to approve the minutes, December 6th.
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor to keep by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, we have a number of items of discussion today. We'll open with the item on recycling and waste department bid results. Judge, you're on. Brother. Go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, commissioners. Apologize for my voice. I'm suffering from a head cold here. So our current contract for moving the yard waste equipment around and doing some light maintenance work on it expires at the end of this year. We put it out to bid. In addition to advertising, distributed courtesy copies to 5 companies. We received 1 bid, interestingly, not from the incumbent. The bidder was Latuca Transportation Services of Mechanicsburg. Their bid was $22,125. For reference, this year's contract amount is $23,237.50. So I don't have any concerns with the bid from Latuca. Recommend that we award the contract to Latuca's Transportation Service.
Any questions?
I will move to award the heavy towing and light maintenance and repair services for industrial composting equipment to Latuca's Transportation Service as discussed.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor to keep by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. All right, brings us to discussion regarding resolution 2023-32 regards to the 2024 budget. So just Tammy and Dana.
So we are requesting the approval of the resolution adopting the 2024 budget. That total county budget is about 309 million expenditures, which consists of the general fund expenditure budget of 133.5 million. And the total revenue is 253 million. And the general fund makes up about 92.5 million of the revenue budget. There have been no changes since we placed it on queue. Have any additional questions?
I think you just answered my one question, which was, has there been any change since the preliminary budget? Answers no. All right.
And we still don't have a state fiscal code.
Correct.
Correct.
That's my knowledge now.
And you've received no guidance from the commissioners on how to proceed with this $40.942 million difference.
We were discussing, talking about starting meetings in January. We're going to have we're meeting with the department heads next week, talk about things that they can start doing to make changes. The 40 million isn't the expected difference in our projections. I believe that difference is $5 million. That doesn't sound right. No, I don't have the exact difference between in our projections, but currently with what we showed in the FAC, we did have a decrease in fund balance, but we also were not applying all the one-time monies in the first year. So if we move that over, that decreases the difference by even more. And then we were talking about making expenditure cuts throughout the year, talking to department heads, seeing what they can do, and discussing things with commissioners on a monthly basis of what's going on and what can be done.
Just to clarify, Dana, that the numbers that you gave do not include any use of the $7 million
Correct.
Excess funds from the Claremont sale. I think there was 9 million in other funding that has not been, could be used.
That can be used.
Not in
Correct.
projections of good. So that remains.
Yes.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion.
Yeah, move to approve resolution 2023-32.
I second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Or any is opposed? Thank you. Okay, that moves us to the next item, which is ordinance 2023-3. This is in regards to setting the tax millage rate. This is the other shoe to drop.
So we are requesting the approval of the ordinance that will set the millage at the same rates that they have been. And that is 2.195 mils for the county millage and 0.166 mils for the library. And there's been no change in the mills for the last 10 years.
You mentioned about the library. The library millage changed. When did that last change?
27.
You're right, that has not been 10 years. It's probably been 7 or 8. We'll have to look that up.
That's fine. Thank you. Any questions?
I will move to approve ordinance 2023-3, setting the 2024 tax millage rate.
I'll second.
Case moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any is opposed? Thank you. Okay, brings us to Annie Strite. We've got a number of issues you're going to address again today. You are one busy lady these days.
I think I'm just gonna step up to the table. That way we can have a conversation.
Sounds great.
First, I want to say thank you so much for your support yesterday. We've already gotten a lot of really nice feedback and a lot of, props and thank you, congratulations. So thank you to you folks as well for your undying support with these large projects.
We had the easy part. Appreciate being part of it.
Certainly appreciated. With that, every year we've done this since the general legislature made the change in the Mental Health Procedures Act. It's called assisted outpatient, and we have, by the law, the opportunity or option to opt out of this section of the law. Since its inception, I believe there's only been 2 counties who have elected to try to opt in to assisted outpatient, and that was under a grant with the state. All of the counties are very concerned about the additional costs of doing assisted outpatient treatment, the additional court costs, the additional monitoring costs, and even, I'm just going to be really honest, some of the ethical concerns. Because when we're stripping people of their civil rights and we're court ordering them civilly to mental health services, typically under the old act, it was services like inpatient or partial hospitalization, which is a program that serves people for up to 6 hours a day, just for ongoing treatment and recovery. And the new act includes services like assertive community treatment, which is a mobile treatment team that meets with people in their homes. It includes psychiatric time as well as peer support. And that's kind of a concern because if court ordering somebody to a program like this and the person is never home or never opens their door, then the option for success is limited. Similarly, that part of the new part of the Mental Health Procedures Act also includes a program of peer support. And to court order someone to appear, it just feels counterintuitive that, I'm your court ordered friend, I'm your court ordered support. And we've opted out since 2018, since its inception. Last year, actually last November, I attended a 2-day training in Lancaster and asked many questions about implementation, what other states are doing with this, because other states have also implemented it, trying to find basically a balance, trying to see what the right decision is. And I came back honestly with additional questions. So until I feel like we have a good handle on this, as well as the fiscal piece to be able to fully support it, I would like to be able to opt out again. We've already discussed this with our community support program a month ago, as well as provided them with some additional resources that they can read and provide feedback if there are concerns. This does not require commissioner approval, but we do like to make sure we're including broad stakeholder involvement so that everybody understands not only just what we're doing, but why we're doing it. So if you folks have questions, I'm happy to answer that. Okay, all right. All right, thank you. The next agenda item is a much larger conversation. Of course, that's why we were in Harrisburg yesterday. I brought the contract with me today for signature, if the board approves it. But this is the connections contract that we were all in Harrisburg with the press conference for yesterday. $17.5 million contract, $4.5 million of that is renovation projections for the CMU building in Harrisburg, 1100 South Cameron Street. The other almost $13.1 million will be used during the startup phase. The grant dollars that we have are very limited with regard to the renovation piece. So we're being very mindful of that. We can use it for like ADA kinds of things, life safety kinds of things. So there will be some of the expenses that we can use the grant dollars for, but the lion's share of the grant dollars will be used really for the beginning parts of the operational part of the budget. So we're hoping that by the end of next December, we'll have a program that we can open. And then for about the first 6 months or so, we will be able to use the grant dollars. Of course, you know that as part of the program, there'll be psychiatric time, there'll be certified registered nurse practitioners, there'll be peer support specialists for individuals in recovery from mental illness, there'll be recovery specialists for people with substance use disorders, and we're excited about the next steps with this large project. If folks have any further questions?
Annie, I have one, has nothing to do with the cost or anything. But will the facility, is it available for anyone, or is it for Cumberland, Perry, Dauphin residents?
It will be available for anyone. I mean, even in our current crisis programs, we do see people coming from, especially northern York County, because it's closer to come to Harrisburg or to Penn State Holy Spirit. So we do anticipate seeing some folks who are from other counties, but the lion's share of individuals will be from our communities.
That's all I had.
Any additional? I guess that concludes discussions. Now the question is whether we're interested in approval.
Make a motion to approve the contract with Connections Health Solutions LLC for mental health IDD.
A second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, can we move on to next item here is you as well.
Actually, the next item is the memorandum of understanding. Our boards of commissioners previously had signed the memorandum of understanding. There is some changes to it with the additional, and I believe the largest change is initially we didn't include any of the renovation costs. We literally just had the amount of the grant, which was about $13.1 million. But with the addition of the renovation cost, there's another $4.5 million that was added to that. So our partners in Dauphin County, you know, we want to be transparent, sharing how we're handling the resources. So we put all of the dollars into the MOU. So we have a revision to the MOU, and we're looking for board approval on that.
Well, I will move to approve the addendum to the memorandum of understanding with Dauphin and Perry counties regarding the regional crisis walk-in center for NHIDD.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then the final agenda item is perhaps you remember in 2021, were awarded a grant with the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for our crisis intervention team collaborative. So our training for CIT with law enforcement, it was a $46,000 grant, and we've only expended about $16,000 of the grant. So PCCD permits us to request a program modification, and that's really what I've come to see if we can keep that extra $30,000 and attempt to use it in the next 6 months, so we can maximize that grant. It requires board approval and signature, and then I'll be sending that to PCCD for their review and hopefully approval.
Make a motion that we approve the PCCD Crisis Intervention Team Collaborative Grant Addendum for MHIDD.
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, you're what, 4 for 4.
Doing all right so far.
Okay, additional item that was added in regards to Katie bylaws again. So let's open this up to discussion.
Geez. Yes, I'd like to make a motion to authorize our solicitor, Mr. Brenneman, to prepare amendments to the Cumberland Area Economic Development Corporation bylaws, which I will go over here shortly, and advertise a special meeting of the members. ADIC. There are 4 proposed bylaw revisions. First one is to revise section 3.2, number and compensations of directors in its entirety as follows. The number of directors shall be no less than 5 and not more than 15, as may be designated from time to time by a majority vote of all the members of the corporation. Directors need not be members of the corporation, but the members shall appoint 1 commissioner to serve on the board of directors. Any commissioner so appointed by the members shall serve at the will of the members, shall not be subject to the term limitation relating to term length, and shall not be subject to the limitation on consecutive terms, as otherwise applicable to directors as noted in section 3.3. Directors shall serve without compensation. The second of the 4 suggested revisions is to revise the first sentence only of section 3.3, appointment of directors, terms, vacancies, to provide as follows: except when a Cumberland County Commissioner is appointed by the Board of Directors by the members as provided in section 3.2. A nominating committee selected by the Executive Committee shall nominate candidates to serve on the Board of Directors. Third suggested revision is to revise first sentence of section 5.2. Executive Committee to provide as follows: Board of Directors shall establish an executive committee, which shall be composed of the chairman of the Board of Directors, the vice chairman of the Board of Directors, the secretary of the Board of Directors, treasurer of the Board of Directors, and an individual designated by a majority of the members who shall not be a Cumberland County Commissioner. And fourth suggested revision, add the following sentence after the revised first sentence of section 5.2 to state: no member shall participate in or attend in the executive committee meetings.
I will second that motion.
Okay, floor's open for discussion. These are substantive changes, therefore I have some comments. First off, I'd like to be clear, this is the first I've seen this, and that is not the case with the other commissioners. So apparently, I think that raises itself some significant questions. I find it particularly interesting that this comes about now. Number one, I think it would certainly not be beyond the realm of responsibility to reduce the number of commissioners on the board. Most economic development boards feature 1 commissioner, that is to assure a direct connection. That's even more important for us because of the nature of the structure that was put in place to assure accountability. Because our previous arrangement for economic development essentially allowed for zero accountability to county commissioners, even though tax bases are jurisdictional in nature. So I would certainly be open to that idea. I think that also begs the question then of should the commissioners rework the governance structure that allows for a membership of the corporation. It is probably more difficult to do that when commissioners are disengaged from the conduct of the board directly. It's not impossible, but it is definitely more difficult. So these other items are fairly, some are innocuous, some are simply nonsensical, and I think I know exactly why that is. So I just want to mention a couple of things here. So I find it very interesting that we're two members just passed a budget that has, at least on paper, a $41 million budget deficit. And in the 30 days roughly that have passed since that was preliminarily discussed, there has not been 1 minute of discussion by the Board of Commissioners on how to tackle what is the worst budget I have seen. The departments need guidance. There needs to be guidance from the commissioners on how to, this is a huge number, there needs to be guidance on how that's done. So there was no time to address the budget crisis. However, fellow commissioners have instead found plenty of time to concoct a plan.
We were talking
Which
about the
appears to
bylaws in
be
front of us.
Yet
No,
more,
we're not on your diatribe.
more illegal
And if you
deliberation.
have points to make
More-
and point fingers to point, offer some solutions.
I've
Be a solution-centered commissioner.
been offering
Because you are
solutions for the
headed-
last two.
You
two
are
minutes.
off the rails on the crazy train at this point in time. So
You
if you
want to
have
find that.
solutions, go ahead and offer them.
I
Offer
have comments to
solutions.
make. I have comments to make. All right. And I do.
And
have
you
the
always
floor.
have comments to make, and they're
Yes.
always finger pointing, and it's never your fault. You're never involved, and everyone else is a problem.
Well,
I'd like to
this will
hear
make
your
some of that clear.
solutions.
This will make
I
some of
would
that clear.
like to
And I
hear
have
your
every
solutions.
right, and these are going to be entered into the minutes. Okay. in writing.
Yes, and I have something to enter into the
So,
minutes when you're finished.
That's fine. You always have to do your misdirect. But here's the situation. Okay. This came about as a result of what appears to me, certainly, and to at least one other attorney I've consulted, to be yet even more illegal
Wait a
deliberation.
second, you haven't seen these things and you've just consulted an attorney on them?
I have.
Are you lying again?
I have
Are you
consulted
lying
an
again?
attorney.
You said, I haven't seen these.
I have not seen.
Now you've said you've consulted an attorney.
I have.
So have you lied again?
I have not lied. Why
Have
don't
you lied again?
Why don't you try
Again.
listening to
Again.
what's being said?
I'm gonna
okay?
call you out.
Rather
on
than
everything
trying
you
to
say that's
obfuscate
nonsense.
and dodge responsibility
You're
for
off
what
the
you are
rail
doing.
on the crazy train.
I'm simply trying to state a
Off the
position.
rail on the crazy train. I mean, you can state your position. It's great. Go ahead. I'm listening.
No,
You're
you aren't.
supply
You never are. But this does appear to be deliberate violation of repeated states of the aim of transparency. So this is pretty much the same thing we saw in the ARPA grants. So, but this idea of removing all but one commissioner from the board, that's going to be appointed by the next board. Okay, so that was made clear to me verbally. I did not see this. Some of this was not conveyed to me, so it is a surprise. It's not a good way to do business, but it's standard for this board. More importantly, now you're trying to institute a ban on a commissioner attending committee meetings. Interesting, on committee meetings. Okay. That's where the most valuable contribution of commissioners actually has taken place historically. At least that's assuming commissioners want to play that role. Apparently, you two do not. I'm the only commissioner who participated in focus groups for strategic planning and who participates on a committee despite repeated invitations to you. But you've reserved unto yourself. I do. And you were invited.
Because you're not supposed to
And
be.
you were, according to whom?
You were removed as the commissioner liaison.
On executive committee. We
You
are
were
all
removed
offered.
as the commissioner liaison.
We
You were removed as the commissioner liaison.
Yeah,
You
we've-
should not have been going to
we've
committee
heard you.
meetings.
We've heard
You're
you. I have
starting to
not.
figure out why this is happening. Are you starting to figure it
Are you
out?
capable of listening?
You just keep talking.
Yeah, because I got something to say. I got something to
Go
say.
ahead,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Thanks, Mom.
go ahead.
So anyhow, I do participate on a committee, just as each of you was invited to participate in committees, as well as the focus groups. That's the commissioner connection to economic development. So you're going to reserve unto yourself the power of the owners of the corporation to control appointments and to be charged with oversight of policy direction. It's only intended to be policy direction, okay? But now you're exploiting that role into detailed and harmful meddling into operational issues of KDIC. And it's not a county department, and it was never intended that way. It's irresponsible. And all this is a counter to the purpose of the member organization role that was envisioned. This is hardly surprising given the exceeding poor practices of the majority of the board in every authentic and legitimate oversight role that commissioners should play. That failure is the single largest reason for the budget fiasco we now face. The effort to sweep it under the rug and just to hope that it goes away is just a continuation of that. So it's nothing more than this is all nothing more than a spite-driven retribution to me as the co-founder of KDIC and an active participant and it was obsessively orchestrated in retaliation for my refusal to silently conform to badly conceived and badly executed policy directions that have reversed past success of this board, of previous boards, and that violate both good management practice and basic common sense. So, and now for a second time this year, apparently, these changes are being proposed by the members without the knowledge or participation of KDIC board members. It's an insult to these individuals and their commitment to the success of the organization. The leadership team of KDIC, past and present, has expressed their satisfaction that the existing structure prior to this meddling stated clearly that they have stated clearly that the system not only worked well, but greatly aided the reorganization and renewal of the operation following COVID-related disruption and an urgent need for upgraded management performance that needed decisive action by the executive committee, which I then served as part of. Last year's leak by these commissioners of some of the reorganization documents, including an internal review of operations, certainly damaged the perception and with it the reputation of KDIC with the publication of the documents. That in itself is a violation of KDIC bylaws that commissioners are supposed to be bound by. It demonstrates a lack of genuine interest in the success of KDIC's mission to build our tax base, thus holding down residential taxes while providing new opportunities for residents in a changing economy. Both of these issues, the disregard for the county's budget soundness and the harmful meddling in the operations of an affiliate organization that has its own governance structure, have vividly demonstrated the current board majority's emphasis on power mongering and political posturing rather than problem solving aimed at protecting the interests of residents and taxpayers of our county. This board took office with the potential for great success and very good position to meet that goal, and it's profoundly failed that test. Your turn.
We had
Do
two
I get
right
to
to
talk
know
over you?
requests.
Do I
You
get to
always
talk over
do.
you too?
We had two right to know requests that clearly indicate that your involvement with KDIC has been inappropriate and very deep. And though every one of those emails will be attached to the minutes of this meeting.
And Mr. Brenneman has repeatedly told us that there is no overreach in my
Right under the
participation.
bus, man, right under the bus. You just went right out, you just threw him right under the bus because that's what you do when you're caught. No more finger
It's what's
pointing.
on, it's what on,
What are
it's
your
on the public
solutions?
record. We've
You
always
have
put it to him.
ideas about these bylaws, put them forth like a human being in a collaborative way. And
Like
say,
you did,
I would
collaborate,
like,
real collaborative.
I would say, well, they're not written in stone. We're not voting on them today. You have every ounce of power available to you to put forth good information, good ideas.
Which I've done
things that
repeatedly
move
and in the
forward.
early in this
You
term.
are disrupting KDIC. KDIC needs the opportunity to move forward without commissioner meddling and inappropriate behavior.
Bingo, bingo,
I
bingo,
have
bingo.
all of the emails, as does Vince. Two right to know requests had clearly indicate your involvement in KDIC is inappropriate. Every one of those emails, unless the solicitor tells me that I may not attach them to the minutes, will be attached. Will be attached. That needs to be part of the public record after the stuff that you just put
It's
out.
interesting because the past
But
and
for
current.
solutions, no more finger pointing, solutions.
3 years
Solutions.
ago, I sat here
You're
and I
gonna
said,
do it. You're
this
gonna
board
do
needs to
this
adopt
history.
bylaws to govern its
Did
function.
you put them forward? Did you have a
Yes.
conversation with me
Yes.
like I'm a
We-
human being? I know that you could have come to Vince or I and said, what's this agenda item about? I'd like to talk with you, but you didn't. You went and browbeat someone for
I didn't
information.
browbeat anybody. It was
And that is
volunteered.
why this has to be
It was
done.
volunteered to me by the board chair who said it was
volunteered to you by the board
who was
chair.
not here and was not invited
Right
here.
under the bus. man.
And when he
You
showed up
just
at
threw
the
him
last
right under the
time, when
bus.
he showed up here the
Get your
last time,
browbeat.
you were the one who browbeat him. Ask him, why are you here? Who invited you here?
I don't do it, and you
You're
have
a-
made revisionist history. This is your narrative.
He was here.
Go down, I
He
know
was
he
here.
was here, but not because I asked him to be here.
I asked him to be here
Because
because
you browbeat him.
I didn't
Keep
have
it
to
up.
browbeat him. He and
You
the
are
previous chair.
embarrassing this county and yourself. This is not good. You did this with the borough
I
of
think-
Newville on Friday in an interview. You gotta stop, Gary. You gotta stop. You put all of us in
I
a
think your
terrible
budget
position.
fiasco was the embarrassment to this
What was
county.
your solution?
I was, for the last
No
2
solution?
years, I've been telling you, you're spending too much money.
I've
Spending
been
too
telling
much
you,
money.
what's your solution?
Well,
What's your
now
solution?
you
I
have
want
the
your
range of
solution.
options
I don't want
so
this from
much.
you. I don't want pig parent from you. I'm your big bad daddy. I want a real solution from you, and you don't offer it up. You just offer up crazy train.
Yeah.
I'm ready to vote on this. motion.
Not spending,
And I am
not spending more
very
money than
willing-
we have is not crazy train.
Well, then
Okay.
put forth your ideas how to not do that. Put forth your ideas how to not do
The
that.
money is spent.
Put
You've spent it.
What
You
are we
spent it very
doing?
well.
I know I single-handedly have done that for the past 20 years, because I haven't been a commissioner for 20 years. You have.
Our reserves were going up
You
until
have.
2 years ago.
And you, how many
We
times
had
did you raise
excess money.
taxes while you were here? How many times has he raised taxes while he's been here? Five.
You know what we did?
I know.
because we
You're so
inherited a
fiscally
situation just like
responsible.
this.
I know,
So-
because you are the guy who fixes everything except when you don't want to. And you want to be a difficult, petulant child. That's okay. Fully
You're very
expecting
good
it.
at
You have done absolutely
evading
nothing new
response.
today.
You're very good at evading real responsibility for
Oh,
your
I know.
actions.
Ooh, I'm so scared by what you say to me. Ooh. Go ahead, call the motion, please. And really, seriously, I'm very
So-
interested in what you
So
would like to add
now,
to this.
now, because there was pushback, now you're all hell bent to go ahead and pass this just to show me up.
I'm ready to go ahead and start the process with Keith. And in no way, shape, or form does this say that this what flies. We're saying, Keith, we're gonna authorize you to prepare an amendment to bylaws. You have all the time for input on it. It's not showing you up, it's offering you the opportunity to give your input
Such an opportunity.
and your solutions.
Such an
Come on,
opportunity.
let's go. Scaredy cat,
I have
scared of
to-
solutions.
I just can't believe that how far this board has fallen in such a short
Scared
period
of
of
solutions.
time.
You're the chair and the leader, baby.
I have one question. Gary, you mentioned a comment about stated today, quote, illegal activities. Can you be specific on what you're talking about? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
I think the fact that both of you engineered this and instructed the solicitor to keep me in the dark
Crazy train.
essentially violates the sunshine laws.
Okay.
Keith, could you tell me in this process of having this item on the agenda where there were any illegal activities committed?
There were none.
And could you repeat that?
There were none.
There were none.
In your opinion,
Oh my God, he's the county solicitor.
Solicitor.
who happens to be your employee
Under the bus.
in the,
He's under the
your
bus.
employee, just like all the
Throwing him under the
ARPA
bus.
committee.
Throwing them all under the bus. Because
That's
I don't know
another-
why.
The ARPA funds, where are the specifics of your false and malicious accusations? You have none. Zero. Zero.
We've addressed that. I have had plenty of people speak to me about it. And I've been present in meetings where things have happened that should not happen, so.
That's a lot of proof. You're, I feel sorry for you. I really do. I really, really do. Can we get on with our vote, please?
On the floor, Mary.
Motion's been made and it was seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Board means no, please.
We'll be waiting for your revision.
I can provide revisions. I've been
Please
suggesting
do.
revisions for quite a while.
Please provide them within the time frame. How long do you have? We don't have forever.
Has to be fairly prompt. The meeting would be scheduled by the members to take place, given the notice requirement on December 27th.
Okay,
Same time as the finance meeting.
so finance meeting, December 27th is when they'll be voted on. Okay, and so when do you need any and all revisions to you as well as to all three commissioners for review?
Difficult question to answer. Really, they can come at any time. But the sooner the better, obviously.
Okay,
I'm also aware that every time I've suggested revisions to this or anything else, they've got a short shift.
well,
You're-
where
you're not
are
gonna
they?
seriously
You
consider
can't short shift something that you don't have.
it. We've had
Where are they,
discussions.
Gary?
We've had numerous
Discussions
discussions,
don't mean
obviously.
anything, put it in writing. Put it in writing. I'm happy to look at it and consider it.
Sure. Okay, I will do that. Very good.
Go ahead.
Okay, the action is taken, it stands. I will be providing some additional feedback, some of which I just suggested here, by the way.
Well, put it in writing.
So, okay. That concludes the topics for discussion. Brings us to number 5, other business. Entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Stand adjourned.